Hello everyone. Today I want to use a short section to analyze shooting and how to hold and shoot correctly and make the best use of your weapon's ability. In order to achieve this goal, we must act according to certain rules. These rules are crucial for every spearfisherman. Of course, knowing your speargun is absolutely necessary. We must get all the feedback through the testing phase of eliminating defects. In this way, we will be able to eliminate the speargun responsibility and focus all our work on the human factor. From experience, I can tell you that the responsibility of a bad shooting, apart from unpredictable factors such as the fish itself or its reaction, the ocean and various natural forces, is largely our responsibility and not the speargun responsibility. Obviously, for our nature, we cannot be completely stable, so our attention must be focused on how to achieve greater stability. Obviously, the best shoot for our speargun is when it is stable, locked in a place where no factors affect it. No matter how many shots we do, the shaft always ends where the first shot was. Only in this way can get precise measurement by changing one parameter at a time. For example, changing the position of the fin, changing the thickness or length of the shaft, the diameter of the rubber, and many other parameters. Then we can see exactly how much each of these parameters affects the shooting results. Our body and its position at the bottom, and our hand and its extension, which is the speargun, are never in the same position and the same stability for many different reasons. So it is inevitable that the forces that develop on the speargun when the shaft is fired never find the same reaction and resistance from our hands. Not to mention another spearfisherman's hand. In fact, other spearfishermen may be much larger and smaller than us in size and mass. That's why we often ask ourselves why we missed such an easy shot. Therefore, the first rule we should apply is that our hands must always be placed in the same way. Let's analyze an important parameter, the mass. The greater the mass of the speargun, the smaller is the recoil. Let's say the mass of our speargun is about 2 kilograms. If we have the possibility to add 3, 4, or even 5 kilograms, well, we can do it with our arm. It's amazing that our flexible arms can become so stiff at any time. All we have to do is point your hand right at the back of the weapon, so that its extension and then its mass will increase the mass of the weapon. In order to do this correctly, the handle must always stand upright and never bend. The upper part of the wrist and thumb must be aligned with the saddle, while the rest of the palm should rest on the surface as much as possible. The grip of a speargun doesn't fit our hands perfectly. The problem, naturally, is the anatomical structure. This is a very important issue in itself, so I will discuss it in the next video. Let's look at the side profile and the top profile. The elbows must be locked like this. The shaft must be aligned with our speargun, and the inside of the elbows must face the top C. In this way, we can make our weapons a solid and rigid mass to be applied to the back of our speargun. The whole movement is mainly done by the shoulder, and no matter where our grip is, it must follow our hand behind the shoulder. After the wrist, forearm and arm are aligned with the speargun, the thumb rests on the handle in place, thus compensating for the external pressure of the palm. Fingers are in position, and the fingertip of the last phalanx is placed on the trigger. Our remaining 3 fingers simply embrace the bottom of the grip and supported it, never holding it too hard. The eyes behind the rifle almost aligned with the tip of the rod. I say almost because the perfect alignment is almost impossible. The trigger pressure must be applied very lightly, never suddenly. The finger that pulls the trigger must work and move independently of all other fingers and the palm, which, as we said earlier, has taken their place and cannot be affected by holding the trigger. We often make the mistake of pressing the trigger and moving the other fingers at the same time. As a result, we not only lose much of the force of our weapon, but we also feel the recoil strongly. Subconsciously, we want to feel the trigger firmly on our finger. In this way, we move away from the correct position. Another interesting aspect is the moment when the angle is created between the shoulder and the speargun. Doing in this way, we prevent the mass of the spear gun from adding to the mass of the arm, losing of range and precision. Usually the elbow is responsible for creating these angles, as the wrist. When you hold the spear gun with the elbow flexed, the tilt becomes very comfortable because you can change the direction of the barrel more quickly. However, I advise you not to shoot from afar. For short and medium range, there is a remarkable accuracy because most of the energy is absorbed. We all know how difficult it is to align weapons with our hand, especially when the fish moves. But if we want to give our spear gun a chance to show the limits of its ability and surprise us, this is the only way. You shouldn't be fooled by the success of most shots, most of which are made from short and medium range. But when we ask or dare to make long shots, as we said earlier, we have to play by the rules. So in order to improve ourselves, we must do a lot of exercises and try to remember the rules. I know it's not easy, because a lot of times you get addicted to the old-fashioned way of shooting and let us make mistakes again. Take time to test your equipment and capabilities at sea. I want to remind you that this video is just to share my experience. Okay, that's all for today. I'll see you to the next video. Good sea!